Hi everyone, welcome to this YouTube live event. Doing my master's in logistics and supply chain management, and I'm now doing my thesis actually, so it's my last semester. With me today we have Hilya and we have Fabio. Would you like to start by introducing yourself? Maybe Hilya can start?
Hi, my name is Hilya. I'm from Indonesia and I'm doing my master's in biotechnology.
Hello, I am Fabio from Italy and I'm currently doing my master's in European Affairs, and I've also done my bachelor's here at Lund University in development studies.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And we are here today to share our experiences with you. So today's live event is all about that we are willing to help you to figure out if Lund University is the right choice for you. And we have been there, right? So 2 years ago, I have decided that I wanted to study abroad. So I've been into the process of researching for universities and deciding if I want to go abroad as an international student or if I want to do it locally. And then we decided to come to Lund University, and I think the three of us as well, had a lot of expectations before coming to Lund. So today we will discuss what is the process that we had, what expectations did we have before coming here, and if the reality check was as per expectations or not. But before we start talking, we would like to ask you as the audience, maybe you can share with us where you are coming from. So where you are joining us from today, and if you are considering your studies, what part of the process are you at now? So are you researching for universities? Are you considering studying abroad? And so maybe we can talk more about your experience as well while we are discussing this topic. I can see a lot of people saying greetings from Nigeria. So hi everyone from Greece, Zambia, hello everyone. I can see that some of you said that they have already applied. Some of you are monitoring the application process. Anyway, we are really happy to have all of you from all around the world. Please feel free to drop your questions. We will be checking the chat and taking your questions along the way. We totally understand that deciding where to study or what to study is a really difficult decision. And there are a lot of things to consider. So, for example, in which country do you want to study? What kind of environment would you like? Especially if you are an international student, and even the program. Like, we come from different backgrounds. I think engineering, some of us are more like into
Political science.
Engineering
as well. So choosing the
Yeah.
program was like also something that we considered, and also the three of us have been in that process. So let's dig deeper. Our first question for you is, how did you decide you wanted to come to study at Lund, maybe in Sweden as well? Could you share your decision? What was your thought process of thinking of coming to Sweden? Maybe Fabio can start?
Yeah, so actually around this time, 5 years ago, is when I had applied and I was looking into Lund University. And I think the reason why I was doing so is there was a particular program that I was interested in, and that was development studies precisely. And I looked at it and I saw how that it was interesting. I saw what it was about. So it was interdisciplinary, a bit of political science, sociology, economic history. So, I really saw this as something that was right for me. And then from the program, then I moved on to understanding what Lund University was, where it was located. I had never been to Sweden before, even though I am from Italy, so it's not, it's still in the same continent, but it was far away from me. So then I looked into it and I thought, why not apply? And this really felt like something I would be interested in as a career, and to start my career through this academic path.
Yeah, so it all started from your program. I can see a lot of people here as well saying they are from India, Liberia, Kenya, East Africa, and someone from Greece actually saying that they have applied for your program. So maybe they have a lot of questions for you. Croatia, USA, so we are so happy. We have some people from Indonesia as well. So Hilya, can you tell us more about your decision that you...
Yes, so I originally come from a chemical engineering background. I did chemical engineering for my bachelor's with a specialization in bioprocess technology. And as I was finishing my bachelor's, I found out that I'm also interested more in the more of the sciencey parts of it, like the biology, the microbes that we use in bioprocess technology. So then I started looking for programs that fit my background and the direction that I want to go to. And I found that the biotech program in Lund is very interdisciplinary. So it has a lot of bioprocess aspects, but also when I look through the courses, they cover quite a broad range of subjects like molecular biotechnology, even biophysical chemistry. And I really, really like that interdisciplinary part of it. And I was also excited about the prospect of meeting like friends from all over the world studying very different biotech-related backgrounds. So yeah, and then I started researching about Scandinavia and Sweden and found out that the biotech industry is really big here, and I really think that Lund is the right place for me. So I started to apply, and I'm here now.
Yeah, I think we are all undergo the same process. It's a little bit different for me because I was already working in supply chain. Mm-hmm. So when I decided I wanted to do my master's, I wanted some place where they have the program that is up to date. It follows the trends that are going nowadays in logistics and supply chain because it's a dynamic kind of program. So yeah, and that's why my deciding deal or break deal. So I remember I also cared about the ranking of the university as well. Did you have that into consideration when you decided as well?
Yes. Actually, when I started applying for my master's, I had a big spreadsheet of all the universities I potentially want to apply to. And I had all my data there, like the ranking, the living cost, the location, subject that I can learn, and I looked through some of the research portals. So, yeah, that's how I decided.
So you had a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Oh, and did you do the ranking and the weights and everything?
Yes.
And Lund won?
Lund won.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Yeah, and then why did you decide to go abroad? Why didn't you go for something that is in your country then? Maybe Fabio can?
That is a good question. I was thinking, actually, I started studying first in my home country for a bit, the bachelor's, before coming here to Sweden. And I thought, actually, I would like to do something that is a bit more international, to be stimulated in a different way. And I thought that's why Lund and Sweden were distant enough for me to say, okay, this is going to be interesting. But they were also, as was mentioned before, a high ranking, and so a really good institution to study in. And I didn't make a spreadsheet, but I spoke with some friends who are from Sweden, and they said, no, it's a really good institution, and it's top ranked, and the academic quality is high. And so I thought, let's give it a shot and come here.
I think that we all had this almost exactly the same experience. But now that you mentioned that you talked a little bit with your friends about it, where did you get the information about Lund? Because if you some of you said, oh, we didn't even consider Sweden before, or I didn't hear about Lund before. So how did you manage to get that information? Hilya, would you like to tell us a little bit more?
I think I did a search online, and for me, Lund has one of the most informative websites. I found about almost everything on the website. I think we have a website for living cost estimation. I also found a page containing the whole curriculum, the requirements and everything. So yeah, but also about student life and things like that. Very, very useful tips from the website.
Yeah, I think Lund University has a very, very, they really worked hard on their website. So if you are always wondering about some of the information, most probably you will find it on the website. But I remember I also reached out to some current students who are studying in Lund as well. So I think we have this platform called Unibody, where you can talk to different students who are already now studying in Lund. They are from different programs, from different countries. And I think I talked to some of the people back then, and I spammed them with a lot of questions about student life. So yeah, and then I can see in the chat someone is asking, and I think we have already answered this. Can we ask questions? Please feel free to do so. I'm taking notes on your question. If we didn't answer them right away, we will make sure to answer them while we are talking. So please feel free to ask anything. Okay, so what was your expectations before coming to Sweden? And what are the stereotypes about Sweden? I can start by saying maybe a lot of people perceive it as very cold, very expensive. How did you manage to prepare yourself for those expectations, and how was that compared to when you came here? Did you find that a reality or not? Fabio?
Well, I think those are the stereotypes I'm gonna go with too. So cold and a bit rainy, but at the same time, something that was very exciting was that in the midst of all this cold, there is so much coziness within too as well. And also there's the other side that many months of the year it's actually amazing weather. So it's not all true. But actually, so the way I prepared it is to get as much information as I could, try to ask some friends and try to see online mostly on the Instagram, seeing how did life look, how were other people living there in Lund. So that was really a big help to me, and I remember though my grandpa bought me a really big coat, and so that was the main thing for the winter. I need to say it is long, but at the same time it's definitely doable, and it's the people really make it warmer. I need to say that there is such a community that kind of warms you up, and so that was nice.
Exactly. It's a cozy, amazing community. We have a lot. It's a student city, right? So most probably you will bump up out with a lot of people in the street that you didn't consider seeing, and then you feel like you are part of a family, I would say. It's very funny that you mentioned the code, because we have a question in the chat. It says, is it recommended to buy a face before coming to Sweden, like the coat, like the clothing? Do you think that is it necessarily to prepare yourself for the cold before coming to Sweden, or can you do it once you are here?
I did it once I was here because I decided to arrive quite early. I think like 1 week before arrival day. Like in August, it was still very warm, and we had a particularly warm summer last year. And then when I got here, it's a lot more cheaper to get into thrifting if you're like looking for winter clothes and boots. Yeah,
highly recommend, like secondhand, to save money. My whole apartment is in secondhand furniture and things that are really high quality as well, but they're secondhand, so they're super cheap.
And saving the environment.
Yes, sustainability is really something that you can be sustainable in Lund. It's actually it's made easier in a way, and I think it's one of the big values of the university, is trying to work for a better environment and for to support the climate and to support our transition into a more sustainable world. And I think Lund as a city and as a university is really making it easy for you to do that.
Yeah, you can see all the signs of sustainability all over, like starting from your separating your trash, or like second-hand shops, or even using a bike every day.
Yes.
So that's true. But going back to the expectations, we talked a little bit about Sweden being cold. You said you were able to adapt because you were prepared, and I think this is really a good advice, because Swedish people says there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. So as long as you are prepared, you are always good to go with the cold. But what about the expenses? Did you find it expensive, Hilya?
Sometimes yes, sometimes it's okay. I saved a lot of money by biking everywhere, and also by cooking most of the time. But when it's sunny outside and everyone wants to go out, maybe they want to go to Malmo to do things, and that's where the money is gone. But yeah, I think it's actually quite manageable. The rent is not as bad as I would expect for Northern Europe, because maybe it's a student city. I mean, it's quite low compared to, say, Copenhagen or Stockholm, I would say. And groceries is manageable if you plan. I plan my groceries every week. And also we have student cafes at the building. I can get my coffee for 5 crowns, which is like €0.50.
€0.50.
Yeah. So yeah, it's manageable, I would say.
Yeah, when talking about expenses, we usually say it really depends on your lifestyle. So you
Yes,
can
exactly.
be really, really over the top, eating out every day, or like planning your meals and then eating, and then you are saving a lot of money. You can use a bike. Do you bike?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
everywhere. I biked right now to come here. So.
Exactly. You can bike, or you can use the bus, and then you need a bus pass, and then your expenses are different. So it really depends on how you are managing your budget. But as long as you have your budget and you know these kind of tips and shortcuts to have like student discounts, using more affordable options, I think the expenses are kind of manageable.
Mhm.
But I think the hugest expense that we have is rent, the accommodation, and we have a lot of questions here in the chat about accommodation. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience finding an accommodation? What did you do? Where are you staying right now, and so on?
I think I had a bit of trouble actually before coming to Lund to find accommodation. If I'm not wrong, I think international students non-EU have secured accommodation, right?
Yes.
So you can look into that. But if you want to find your own, it is a bit more difficult, but still doable. Lund University offers, there's different housing opportunities that some Lund University adjacent organizations offer. So there's a big student organization that offers housing that it's called AF Bostäder. And then there's the Nations, which are basically fraternities and sororities open to all students where you can live. You get accommodation, and there's also, actually talking about expenses, they also have their own student-run restaurants, even in the weekend. So if you want to go out and eat out, it won't be super expensive because it's student-run, and you'll get some good food for very cheap. And so I think the key is to look into all the possibilities you can. So there is AF, you'll find it on our website. There is AF, there is the Nations, and there's some website on. There's also some Facebook group chat. So there are opportunities, but it is going to be a bit more work if you don't go through the Lund University route for international students.
Yeah, I would just like to clarify something, because it's a little bit different if you are an EU student or a non-EU student, because Lund, they have their own LU accommodation, which they rented different housing in all around the city. And if you are an international student who is fee-paying student, you have a housing guarantee. And then if you apply on time, you don't have to worry much, because that guarantee grants that you have a room. And we always recommend take the room that they are offering you, and then once you are here, you can search for more options. But if you are an EU student, unfortunately, you are not eligible to go for the LU accommodation. And then, yeah, the options that Fabio mentioned, like the Nations or the other organizations that have the housing, can really help. But what about you, Hilya? What was your experience with accommodation?
Because I'm not from the EU, I got the housing guarantee and I applied on the first day that they open. I think they have a queue system based on the time you apply. And I was very, very fortunate to get in the place that is one of my top 3 choices. And yeah, it's really nice. I think I pay a reasonable amount for rent in like the middle of the city. And I live in a student corridor shared with 4 other people, so that was really nice. And yeah, but I think it's sometimes really hard to get a room. So also what a lot of my friends do, if they, like people from outside the EU, if they got the room from Lund accommodation and it's not one of their top choices, they still accept it. And then while they stay with Lund accommodation, they try to find other private housing options or with AF Bostäder. So they have like a little bit more time and, you know, not have like this time pressure of like having to find housing right away before coming to Lund.
Yeah, I think as long as you are organized, it's not that stressful. I know a lot of people who were not able to secure something in Lund and they went for Malmo, for example. Malmo is like 15 minutes by train. So, I mean, you can have some options, but just make sure to be updated and to do things on time. Actually, in the chat, we have a lot of questions about job opportunities. And I think this is like very important, because if you're coming to Sweden, you need to know how you are managing your money income and so on. And yeah, as a general tab, we would say that you are here for your studies, and this is a student city. There are a lot of competition related to jobs. So if you are willing to come here and depend on the job, it's a little bit hard. But do you know people who actually were able to secure some part-time job while they are studying here? Do you have any experience with that?
I think it's doable, but you know, as Areej said, like don't rely on it because it is difficult. We are 40,000 students here in Lund, and I think the competition is high for a small city. But there are some friends of ours, and included myself, who do have a part-time job on the side, and I usually personally do not recommend going over like around 10 to 15 hours a week because studies are of a high level, and of course your priority is to study, of course, and so that's what we're here for. But it is doable to combine work and studies, and it definitely brings a good amount of financial help, of course. But the key is to network once you're here. I think it's more difficult when you are not here yet, but once you're here, I think just network, speak to people, go around, ask, and there is a possibility that you can find something, of course.
Yeah, totally. This will open the door for two questions that we are having. So you mentioned networking, right? And we have in the chat, a lot of people are asking what kind of networking opportunities with industry does the university offer for you? So maybe I can start by saying we have a lot of career fairs, we have a lot of guest lectures, we have a lot of study visits. But that's for my program. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about your program. What kind of industry connections do you have?
Yeah, I think it's quite the same. We have lecture visits and we have study visits. And the engineering campus also plans career fairs every now and then. We have student organizations that help students connect themselves with industry. And also because Lund is very close to big cities like Malmö and Copenhagen, like if you're always on the lookout in the internet, like try to find some company open house or like networking events. They're usually very common. Like I think, and also like in Lund we have the Ideon Science Park, and they host quite some events there, sometimes with the companies. I think that's what I was experiencing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
I agree completely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what helps is that the professors as well are super connected to industry as well. They are doing a lot of projects with industry. They are not like solely in academia, at least for the engineering. So you always have this kind of connection with the industry, and you are able to be exposed to the Swedish market. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to expand also on student associations, because outside of the university and the classroom, also student organizations are a great way for you to get engaged. And they organize, first of all, they can organize career fairs, but sometimes if you find a specific student organization of a specific sector, there is a possibility that they also do more specific career fairs or more specific events with companies. So, for example, I am part of one called UPF, and it works with foreign affairs, and every year they have their own career fair specifically for foreign affairs. And I've also, yesterday, for example, found out about this one association called Hub AI that works with AI, and they're also having a panel with very big company that is here in Lund. So I think there's many events, and I think what Lund University does it really well to connect you for the future job market. But I really look around for student associations, because there's so many, and you're gonna find one that is interesting for you for sure.
I really back you up. I am part of a lot of student association as well. I can highlight Erasmus network. We do a lot of fun activities, not necessarily connected to industry, but it has a lot of opportunity to network. But on a professional level, I also worked with an association called 180 Degree Consulting Lund. We were able to do some consulting projects for startup Swedish companies, so we were really able to connect to the industry and have a sense of how the market is going. And maybe my next step for you to find a job is learning Swedish. And this will open the topic to, do I have to learn Swedish to be able to be here in Lund?
No. I think everyone here speaks perfect English. And yeah, also like all the lectures, it's a master's program taught in English, so we hand in our assignments in English, lectures are in English. And yeah, I don't think it's really necessary, but of course it's always good to learn a little bit, because I mean, I'm staying here in Sweden and I'm actually taking the classes from SFE.
Oh, so you are already... SFE is Swedish for immigrants. It's something that the Swedish government actually offer for anyone who is in Sweden for more than 1 year. So if you are here for more than 1 year, you are eligible to have a personal number. And if you have a personal number, then you have the right to go to these schools who got the Swedish for immigrants, and you can learn Swedish for free from the Swedish government, actually. My experience with learning Swedish is a little bit weird because, as you said, you don't have to. It's really nice to be part because it's part of the culture. It's really nice to learn it. I was not able to manage my time, but if you are doing the SFE, then you are super mastering the time management.
I'm trying.
How about you, Fabio? Have you tried to learn Swedish?
I tried. I mean, after being here 5 years, I did my best to learn, and I think it's really fun to learn a new language. It adds more skills also to your CV, and it's just fun to communicate in a different in the own language of the people who live here. But that said, even in the remote countryside, you'll find people who speak English, so you don't have to worry about that. But I recommend it as a personal experience.
Yeah, it's always nice to be part of the culture. Yeah. But also the university offers some courses related to Swedish. So if you are willing to learn Swedish, you will have a lot of opportunities. I know a lot of people actually also practicing their Swedish using language cafes.
Yes.
So it's really fun, and you can have the opportunity. We also, like a lot of people in the chat are wondering, is it easy to make friends here in Lund?
Let's say yes. I would say yes.
Yes,
really,
absolutely.
Yeah. There is such, especially among international students, I think there is such an international student population here in Lund, and you'll find people in your program with similar interests. You can make friends through student associations. You can make friends going at the nations, as I spoke about before. So I really think there's so many opportunities, and that's something that the community in Lund is really nice.
Yeah. And like before I arrive and I hear everything about Sweden, the culture is cold and things like this, I was a bit afraid, and I was expecting to be lonely for at least the first 6 months. But I think it's impossible to be lonely in Lund. Like, as soon as I arrived, because I joined the international mentors program, so we were assigned mentors within a group where the mentors kind of plan things to do around Lund to get to know like the city and like some of the people from other programs, and it was really nice. I ended up hanging up with my mentor group quite often, and also I have a student association with the engineering faculty. We have guilds, and they also have like introduction where I get to meet everyone from my program and like from the program with the related subject area, and it was really, really nice. And after 1 month, every time I entered the building, there's always someone I can say hi to, and then Lund feels like home really fast, I think.
I think you need to build this network around you, especially, for example, in winter. You need people to push you to go out to do stuff, because it's a little bit dark, it's a little bit cold. So you need this kind of support around you. And I think Lund actually, like the university itself, gives you a lot of opportunity as well. Because, for example, when you first come here, there are 2 weeks of orientation weeks. And I remember I called my mom and I was saying, I am doing a lot of stuff to the fact that I'm doing in 1 month more than I am doing in 1 year back home.
I was going out every day in summer.
Yeah, like hikes, seminars to meet people from different programs, and then you will create this network around you. You will have a lot of opportunities to make a lot of friends. And actually, we have a lot of activities that people sometimes feel the FOMO, like the fear of missing out. So if you are willing to have a lot of friends here, as Hilya said, you will have your second family. And then, talking about the arrival day, how was your experience with that? Because we also have a question about the arrival day, and what was your expectations? What was the reality? Did you come here within the arrival day, or did you come before or after?
No, I decided to come 1 week earlier. so I can, kind of get to know the town before everyone arrives and it becomes overwhelming. And I arrived in Lund Central because I arrived in Copenhagen and then I took a train to Lund Central. And then I rented a bike to pick up my keys with Lund accommodation, and I think everything went really smoothly. And because for me also in Lund accommodation we have like utensils and everything, so I just need to find bedding at that moment, and it wasn't overwhelming at all. It was a smooth process for me.
That's nice, because I actually arrived here 5 years ago, right in 2020 when it was COVID. So I don't really remember my arrival day. So I don't really remember what I did, but I think I arrived a bit later. But at the same time, the years after, I actually volunteered with some friends, and I think it's really nice. I volunteered with this association called Circle Center, where we give second-hand bedding. So it comes back from the previous students, cleaned, washed, and everything, sanitized, and then kind of given to support students to make their arrival cheaper. So I think it's just really nice. So you arrive to Lund and you can get everything to start your life here right away as soon as you land.
Yeah, I was the one who came at the arrival day. I remember I was getting off the plane, I was overwhelmed with my luggage and everything. Then you meet these amazing people at the airport. They guide you how to take the train. You go to the train. A lot of students are coming within that day as well. You arrive to the central station. There are more people to help. So don't worry about it. If you're planning to come on the arrival day, you will have a lot of people helping you, because there are a lot of volunteers,
yes,
as Fabio said.
And even if you come earlier than arrival day, you can still go to the arrival day event, which I did. And then at the arrival day event, I got my SIM card and I got my bed sheets from Silker Center, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and also I met a few friends from my program there. And so yeah, you can always come to arrival day if you're already in Lund by that time.
Yeah, really a nice advice. So you are not missing out, even if you didn't come in on the arrival day. So we talked a little bit about how the Swedish culture is a little bit different from where we are coming from. And then a lot of people had this question and this concern in the chat. They are asking, how was your experience integrating with native Swedes? Do you have Swedish friends? Do you know people who are more integrated with the Swedish natives? So what was your experience?
I think that it's a bit more challenging. I need to say there is kind of an initial difficulty, but after you go through that and you actually meet people and you speak to them and you start a connection, I think people are super lovely. And I do agree that there is kind of that first coldness, but I feel like it's part of given by the environment. And I think though it's not something to worry about in a way. You make Swedish friends, you get to meet people, you get to meet locals, and there's gonna be people also in your class. I mean, I don't know about you, but in my class, even though it's fully taught in English, there's many Swedish people, and you make friends and you get to know the culture from a different perspective.
Yeah, I would say the same. Actually, my mentor in the International Mentors Program from university is Swedish, sorry. And we're still good friends until now. And also I did projects within my course with Swedish students. I think just a few weeks ago I did a project where it was only 2 international students and 6 Swedish people, and it was lovely. And actually we became friends and we were planning to hang out after the exam. So there's always chances to meet people. I also knew friends who made friends with a lot of Swedish people from the nations and from the student association. So there's always a chance, and we just need to be open and don't let the stereotype get into your head and make it a mind block. Just always be friendly, always try to talk to people and make connections.
Yeah, I live in a studio apartment, so I don't have a lot of opportunity to network with other students, but I know for a fact that a lot of students who lives on a corridor, they have the chance to really have a strong connections with Swedish students as well. Actually, they are practicing their Swedish with them, and they are super, super lovely. And I also had the chance to do a group project with some Swedish student, because as you said, even if the course is for the international masters, a lot of the courses are offered for different programs, so you can have some of the Swedish people who are doing their masters as well joining your class, and then, as you said, it's really nice to see different perspective and different cultures. We touched a lot about nations, and just to be clear about it, as Fabio mentioned before, we have 13 nations. They are like student clubs managed by students. They are an amazing opportunity to also make friends. But let me ask you, what nation did you join, and how did you take this decision?
I am part of Blekingska, which is a nation that is very kind of music centered. They do a lot of concerts, indie music, and they do a lot of clubs. And I found it mostly because of my friends, and they were part of Blekingska, and they were like, come and join us. And then I went to some of their pubs, and I went to some of their activities, and then I was like, yeah, I'm signing up to this.
I'm also part of Blekingska.
Oh.
I like the music part of it, but also like that day I found out the main reason was I found out that I needed a nation membership to attend some event, and that Blekingska was like 5 minutes away from my building. But yeah, they do a lot of nice events, like music-related events.
But there are other nations as well.
Yeah, I am part of Kalmar.
A lot of international
Yeah,
students choose
Kalmar is a lot of international, but we have like 13 nations. And you said that you joined this one because you like music, and this is really good because you need to always like search a little bit about the nation, what kind of activities they do, and then maybe sign up for the one that does a lot of activities that you may be interested in. But don't worry about it, because this decision is one of the decisions that a lot of students worry about. But we always say, once you are part of one nation, you can join all the nations events. So it does not really matter. So I'm part of Kalmar, but I can go to any of the nations activities as long as I have the student Lund membership, which is a membership you pay once per semester, and it allows you to be part of the association and part of the nations. And then let's talk a little bit more about Lund as a place to live. So what is your favorite thing about Lund? What is your maybe least favorite thing about Lund? And yeah, tell me a little bit about your life here. Actually, you are both resident in Lund?
Yes.
Okay, so that's great.
I like that Lund is small and cozy, and it takes like maximum 15 minutes to bike everywhere. And I think it makes it really easy to meet friends. I have a group of friends who always like host dinner parties every weekend, and also like whenever maybe one of us is studying in the library or in the building, and then we can just text each other, hey, do you want to grab lunch? Or hey, I'm thinking of doing groceries, do you want to accompany me? And then maybe we can go to a bar. And yeah, the spontaneity, I think there's a lot of it in Lund, and I really like that you always bump into people you know, like maybe in the grocery store, maybe in like one of the city squares, maybe in one of the university buildings. Yeah, I really like that aspect of it.
I agree, and I think also it's a very beautiful city. It's small, but it really has some gems, and just like, the architecture, the ability, the things you can do in Lund, the activities. It's very student-centered. So as a student, you kind of feel a bit like the center of town, and everything is available for you, and you can do anything. There's so many opportunities of things to do. So I think that's why I really like it. It's built in a way for students. There are also other people living in Lund, but it feels like, it's, as a student, it's a perfect place to study. And that's why I've studied my bachelor's, and then I thought, okay, let's also do my master's here.
Yeah, as you said, it's a student city, but also has a lot of families as well. And the community as a whole is a really lovely community. So you always have these people around you smiling. You will see everyone active, especially if the sunshine is out, everyone is out. I enjoy the green areas as well. Going out for a walk, just like enjoying the nature as well.
We have big parks like the botanical gardens and the Stadsparken, like the city park near the station. They're really good like during the summer. my friends and I would go there and I don't know, like read a book and stay in the sun for like 6 hours. And I think a lot of people are doing the same. It was really nice in
And then
summer.
you can take a bus and go to the nearest beach close by, which is like 15 minutes, and then you go another 15 minutes with the train to Malmö, and you enjoy there like the cafes and the nightlife, and it's a good place.
And Copenhagen is also 50 minutes away. So if you're coming to Lund, make sure to go to Copenhagen Airport, not Stockholm Airport.
Yeah.
It's much more closer. There are a lot of discussion in the chat talking about different campuses. So for those who does not know, Lund University actually has 3 campuses. One is the main one is in Lund, but we also have a campus in Malmö, which hosts the public health and fine and performing art programs, and one in Helsingborg, which hosts the strategic communication and the service management programs. I don't have a lot of experience with the other campuses, especially Helsingborg, because we have a lot of questions about Helsingborg in the chat. But do you have an experience with that? Have you had the chance to go to Helsingborg, maybe checking out the campus there?
I've been to Helsingborg. It's pretty nice. I need to say it's much smaller than Lund as a city, like their campus. But I think, it's as nice. I don't know what to. I feel like it's kind of an extension of Lund. You get the same kind of campus experience. You get the same kind of opportunities. Like there's the library and there's the study rooms and there's everything you need as a student. You'll also find it in Helsingborg. So even if you study there, do not worry, because you'll get kind of the same experience. I do not know about Malmö, but I can imagine that it's really the same. Also, as a city, Malmö is beautiful. So really nothing to kind of worry about if it's so different. It's gonna be a good experience as well.
Actually, one of my corridor mates studies in Helsingborg, and she chose to stay here in Lund. So that's also an option if you want to experience the complete student life in Lund. You can always stay in Lund and commute to Helsingborg. I think it takes 20-30 minutes.
Yeah. Think
A
half an
little bit
hour,
more,
yeah.
like 30-40,
Yeah.
I would
30,
say. Yeah.
But also the Helsingborg campus is right across the train station, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've been there once. So it's possible to stay in Lund and commute to Helsingborg.
Yeah. I don't have much experience. I have some friends from the Helsingborg camp, like they study there within their programs. And I would say they are enjoying exactly the same student life that we are enjoying. It's a little bit different in terms of like the aesthetic of the city, but overall it's the same. You are within Sweden, and it's part of the Skåne county, which is the south part of Sweden. So it's almost the same. Okay, so a lot of students now are waiting their admission results, and they are planning to come to Sweden. So what would your advice would be? How was your experience preparing before coming to here? How did you know what to pack? How did you know what to bring, what not to bring, and so on?
I did so bad at this. I had a full-time job, and I only quit like 7 days before coming to Sweden. My contract ends 7 days before coming to Sweden. And I just thought because it's summer, then I just need to bring my usual clothes. And so I did. And thank God that there's a lot of places to do thrift shopping here. So everything worked out well for me, I would say.
Yeah.
But I didn't bring much. Like I did 23 kilograms of baggage, and that's it.
Yes, I went in a rush and I didn't really think too much, but I think it's you can find everything you need here. Of course, bring the things that are most valuable to you. I think one thing, bring something always from your home country. That's what I do. I feel homesick sometimes, especially in the beginning, but I always brought wherever I would go something from my home country. So I think that would be. Think about that, but of course you'll find everything here. Like you need your bedding, you need your coat because it's colder than you expect. You'll find it here.
Maybe one thing about expectations versus reality. There's this thing about if you're from Asia and you will always miss Asian food, and maybe you're a bit worried about finding like Asian options or Asian groceries in Lund. I actually didn't expect that Lund has quite a an access to Asian food ingredients. We have a good Asian grocery store. And also, even at the normal grocery stores, you can get all kinds of like sauces, like oyster sauce, soy sauce, and almost everything, I would say. So, yeah, I thought food is going to be a worry, but apparently not at all.
Yeah, I had the same experience. Like, I was worried because we have really distinct kind of like dishes and stuff. But I mean, if you didn't find it in Lund, you will find it in Malmo. Malmo is like super, super, super diverse as well. So don't worry about it. You will for sure find something. My experience with packing, I think, as you said, I also had like limited weight. So I would say bring the essentials, things that you will most probably need in the first like couple of weeks, because after that, once you settle, you will know your way around the city, and then you will be able to get whatever you need. We have a lot of questions here about biking versus public transport. So as we mentioned before, Hilya and Fabio, they bike and they go around the city. I don't. I use the monthly pass. So as a student, you have a discount on that. It's around 50 euros per month, and I get the transportation pass. I can use the tram and the bus for unlimited number of trips. Which I find very convenient, but because I also don't know how to bike and my accommodation is a little bit further. We talked a little bit about general student life, but we also have questions about the academic life. So what is your relationship with your professors, and how did you find this a little bit different from what you used to before?
I think I come from a place where the relationship between students and professors are less egalitarian, so I was a bit quite a shock when I came here, and then we refer to professors by their first name. But yeah, I find it really nice that they're a bit like colleagues, but and also like we can always ask for their time during office hours if you have questions about an assignment or any question about the material, and they're also always open to answer emails. So yeah, I think that's really nice that Sweden, I think, is a very egalitarian towards this like relationship between students and professors. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, your professor, you called the professor by first name, which was something I wasn't expecting coming from even Italy, that we don't do that. And one thing that is very interesting is the size of classes depends a lot on your faculty. But for example, in my bachelor's, we were around 100, which is really big. But in my master's, we're only 25. And that really gives you the opportunity to ask any questions to your professor, to get known, to have like that kind of closer relationship that really, where you can learn and like ask questions without feeling kind of intimidated, because you get to know your professor as well. But of course, it depends on the faculty. So go on Unibuddy, find a student who is in that faculty right now and ask them, how is your class? How does it work in your faculty?
Yeah, generally speaking, I think we all had this cultural shock of calling our professors by their first name. I still, till this day, find it very awkward. But yeah, they are open, they are very helpful. I actually asked a couple of professors to provide me with recommendations letter. They were very happy to help. And yeah, they also, like, for example, they always send us job opportunities or internship opportunities that they have around them if they have any connection with the industry. So I would say it's very nice because you always feel that support from their side as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Fabio.
Now, another thing that I was thinking is also that as in political science faculty and in geography faculty, the classes are, there is a lot of independent work as well. So you go to class a couple of times a week or a limited time, but also you have a lot of time to study in your own independent work. And so you get to write papers, you get to do research in your own time. So there is a lot of flexibility, which is really nice.
It's very nice that you touched upon this topic because we have this question. What is the average expected workload for a master's student in Lund? Let's say per week. How many hours are you studying?
I need the whole 40 hours a week, I think. I think my experience is really different from Fabio because as engineering students, and it's a big mix with science, we have a lot of lab work. And then I just need time to write the lab report, and sometimes some courses would also do like weekly assignments. Sometimes we would have readings before the class, so it can be some kind of like a flipped class kind of lecture. And also time to prepare for the exam and everything. I think I really needed the whole 40 hours a week.
Yeah, it's because we are recommended that to spare 40 hours per week for our studies. And this means that you, for these 40 hours, as Hilya mentioned, you will have your classes, your group work, your individual work. So you need to consider 40 hours, and then you can spread them the way you want. I know a lot of students don't like to study during weekends, for example. I know Swedish people don't do that.
Yeah, that was a shock, kind of a culture shock.
5 p.m. Friday.
Yeah, really, 5 p.m. You are done. See you on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this is really the highlight of Sweden, having this balance, because you need to do your studies, but you need to also have this time for yourself to do more activities for fun, or like to relax a little bit and have more chill time. Okay, that's amazing. And then maybe we can, like, lastly talk a little bit about your what kind of assignments do you have within your academic life? Like, what kind of assessments do you have within your classes? Is it like more like exams, or is it projects or group projects and so on?
Yeah, I think it depends on the faculty, depends on the program. European Affairs and Development Studies, but they're very similar in that we had so many essays to write. So many essays. We never had an in-person exam, but we had, for example, group works, and we had presentations. So essays, groups works, and presentation were the main part of all our grades and of all our school work. Yeah.
I think for me it's quite varied depending on the course. We have lab work and lab reports. Sometimes they're graded, sometimes they're not graded. It's only pass or fail, but it's necessary to pass the course. I've had in-person exams. Sometimes they're the 5-hour exams, and sometimes they can be like a shorter midterm exam. I've had presentations and also group projects. So it's quite varied, and I think the teachers really try to tailor it to the needs of the course.
Yeah, I think, as Fabio said, it's really highly dependent on the programs. We, for example, don't have a lot of essays, but we do have a lot of reflection reports, and then case studies, and a 5-hour exam in some courses as well. So yeah, it really varies. But I think all of these assignments are meant for you to have your own perspective on stuff. So it's not like basically theory, but it's your understanding of that. And then it's a lot of discussions and critical thinking. So this is really amazing. We still have a little bit of time to have like the last questions from the chat. So if you still have any question, please drop it by. We have this question: what can I imagine under group exams? Like, I don't think we have group exams per se, but maybe group work.
We had a group exam. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
That's why it really depends on your program and your faculty. But a group exam, so what happened is that we had a very practical exam in development studies, and we needed to prepare a project from scratch. And we did it in a group of around, I don't remember, 6-7 people. And so that was literally the whole course was creating a project from start to finish. And you were graded as a group. It's not very common, but it does happen. And so you are graded step by step. So you do presentations as a group, you write a whole report as a group, and you are graded with one grade that it's gonna be for everyone. So it happens. And it's fun, actually.
Oh, this is really a different experience. We usually have like more of like an individual exam that is more focused on what's your understanding. But this is really a nice setup. But we have a lot of people here actually asking about your specific program, Fabio. And then they are asking you, do you have any kind of tips to get through this specific program?
Any kind of tips? Oh, okay, so...
Sorry.
No worries.
More. Here you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Some tips. So let me think. I would say start from day one. I think what helped me a lot is to kind of start studying from day one in a way. You'll get a lot of readings for my program, and if you start reading right away and start, making connections with the lectures, I think then when it's exam season, you'll be at a good advantage because you have kind of developed throughout the semester. And I would say speak with your classmates because depending on the exam that you have, there's some examinations that they're really good with some thinking between each other, brainstorming on different kind of responses you can give to essays. So essays, another thing in my course, is not you get a week, for example, you get several days where you write your essay at home, and you kind of are allowed to discuss ideas with your friends and kind of brainstorm together and support each other in the studying part. So I think that's really nice to have that community.
Amazing. He's an expert in his program for sure. We still have some questions about Campus Helsingborg. I would say we talked a little bit about it, but I would recommend you to go to the Unibody platform and then maybe connect to the students from like the service management or strategic communication programs, because they are residents there and they are having their programs there. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about it there. Because we had a little bit of discussion about it, but we are not really experts in that. Before we end this stream, I would like to ask you the last question. What is your last or like top recommendation for the people who are coming to Sweden or planning to come to Sweden right now, the students? Hilya?
I think when I was applying to Sweden, I had a lot of worries, but none of them end up being a big deal. So I'm just going to say that don't worry too much as long as you prepare well and you find all the information. There's plenty of information online, and you can always contact the people already in Lund through Unibody or other platforms, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think to ease kind of the pressure, think of all the fun stuff you'll be able to do here. So that's what I like about Lund, is kind of the work-life balance as a student too. You get the time to do fun things, be part in interesting student associations, and really kind of look at that. Look at what's gonna be interesting for you to do and to like an enjoyable part as well.
Yeah, I think my advice as well goes within that line as well. Enjoy the journey. Everyone did a mistake. I took the wrong bus like maybe 5-6 times, then I learned my lesson. You can take the train from the wrong track, it's fine. You can, it's really nice. Like these kind of small mistakes that you make, actually you can laugh about after, and then you really need to enjoy it. And remember, you are a student, everyone here is coming with them the same background, they are all almost students. So you will share the same mistakes, the same experiences, so make sure to enjoy it. And I can see that we have a couple of questions here. Maybe I can answer the last question, which is how does the uni address mental health topics? We have in the university health center, which is available for students for free, so you can always seek for their help. They have a lot of seminars related to winter blues, being homesick. You can ask for a consultation session. So yeah, there are a lot of resources in the university, so make sure to check the website and maybe you can figure out all of them. If you still have any questions that we didn't answer with this session, we are so sorry about that, but we are limited in the time. But you have all the communication channels open. So if you have any questions related to admissions, scholarships, migration issues, you can always reach out for the staff using the link that is available under the description of this live. But if you also want to ask about questions about student life, a specific program, or specific topics related to the study in Sweden, we have the Unibody platform where you can talk to current students, and they are very helpful. Thank you so much, Fabio and Hilya, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone in the chat. We really had a lot of fun. We hope that you had a lot of fun as well. And make sure to check our live events that are coming after this event as well. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.